Hi, I'm Rabsef Bikram. You may remember me from producing such softwares as Channel, Gora, and Orca. Today I'd like to take you on a walkthrough of Peat, a new software by Quartus, my company. Peat is a social graph backup utility. It allows you to automatically back up graphs you manage or know about on Urbit, and it also helps you to restore those graphs if anything should ever happen to them. Basically, if you're a content creator on Urbit, you should be using Peat to back up your data in case of a breach. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set an automatic backup in Peat for a graph you own, and, after breaching, restore that graph to your ship. There's a few other things you can do with Peat that are fun, but you'll want to check those out for yourself by installing it from dister-dozzod-dalten. Link in the notes below. Alright, so the ship that I have on screen here is Zod, and Zod happens to have a group that has been running for a while called Old Group, and in that group is a graph that's very important for it. And you know, we really don't want to lose this content. Okay, so to make sure that we don't lose this content going forward, we're going to back it up using Peat. Now I have Peat installed on this Zod, again from dister-dozzod-dalten, link below. And we're just going to go ahead and pop into Peat and see what we can do. So within Peat, when you first get in, you're going to see all of the groups that you're aware of, and collapsed beneath them will be the graphs that they contain. In this case, we only have one, this old group here, and you can see we have the very important graph within it. The system knows that it's a chat, and this is important for restoration purposes as well. The way that the files come out of Peat is structured to let the system know how to restore them and whether to put them in as a notebook or a link library or a chat in this case. So we'll go ahead and do an export here. And I want this chat to export every 12 hours. Unfortunately, we're going to find that Zod doesn't make it another 12 hours, but thankfully, when we choose to set this timer, let's say every 12 hours and 2 minutes, just to be fun, we can export frequently, and this is going to queue an export already, so we'll get an initial export immediately, and thereafter it will have that export happening every 12 hours and 2 minutes as we set it. So we can see in the put directory of Zod, which I have above the terminal, just here on screen, that a new folder has appeared. We can also see that in the dojo we were told to check that directory, and we should get that feedback back in this system as well. It looks like we're having a little issue here, but we'll have that information. Yes, here we go. So now we know that we're exporting every 12 hours and 2 minutes, and that our last saved index was this index in the graph. That's probably this post right here. In any event, we have a directory in our put directory in our pure folder. Now this put directory is outside of the loom of your Urbit. And what that means is that first, it doesn't have to be mounted to be accessible from any system that's running your Urbit. Second, it doesn't, it's not corrupted or inaccessible by way of your Urbit becoming inaccessible. So it's like fully external to the body of your Urbit. And that makes it so that if anything ever happens to your Urbit, you're still able to get to these files and import them again to recreate your important social graphs. In this case, we know Zod's going to suffer an accident soon. So let's go ahead and back these up to an external place. I'm just going to take this whole directory and I'll put it on my desktop over here. Maybe you'll be able to see it. Maybe not. I don't think you will be, but we'll get to it in a moment. So I have that directory there. Now I've saved it, and this will keep doing the backup on its 12-hour period. But as I say, Zod's not going to make it that long. So let's go ahead and remove Zod. I think I have done this recently now. And I happen to have a backup of a fresh Zod available to me here. So let's copy that Zod. Let's reboot into Zod, and let's see what's going on with her. So if I come back in and put in Zod's password, we'll see that our groups is empty and we no longer have Peat installed. Well, we're going to need Peat installed, which again we could get from dister-dozzod-dalten, not to step on that too hard. But let's install it my secret way here. because this is a fake ship and it can't talk to our distribution moon. Okay, we'll have Peat installed shortly. And once we do that, we can proceed to restoring our old group here, which we no longer have access to. Okay, looks like Peat is ready to go. Let's pop into Peat. Okay, now we're going to try and import that graph into our new Zod here so that we can restore that old group. So if we click on disk and then upload from disk, we can select the folder containing our jam, which I've already selected here, very important graph, and choose to upload it. We'll click on upload once again. We'll put in a new group name, new group, let's say, and how about very important chat. Then we can click on upload and import. We're going to create a new group this way and import our graph into it. You'll see that Air gets a little angry about having to do all of this work to relay this information back to the front end. That's okay. Air can have its fit. But once we're done, over in groups, we will be able to see our new group and our graph in it. And remember our last post, we really don't want to lose this content. Hopefully we'll show that we can restore to that. So we'll just wait for this to restore. All right. Now we can come over to our groups and we will see that we have a group called new group and we have restored within it the very important chat. And we can see here that we really don't want to lose this content. And if you don't want to lose your content either, we suggest that you start by installing Peat today. Link below.